if you see me like looking not at the camera, like say because I'll forget that I've got my camera's in a different place now, and I'll just be like,
look at us, Steven. All right, let's get rolling. Good afternoon, everyone. It's Friday, May 21st, 2021. Today we're talking big changes coming to Apple Music, new Apple devices, and of course, a nice helping of fresh Mac rumors, because this is the iMore Show. Joining me as always is iMore contributor Karen Freeman. Hey, Karen.
Hello.
Good to have you back.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
And our special guest this week is iMore news writer Stephen Warwick. Hey, Stephen.
hello.
All right. Big week for Apple. We've got new devices are arriving on doorsteps today, or, maybe a couple of days ago for certain select lucky customers. Stephen, I understand you are now in possession of an Apple TV.
Finally, what a 24 hours.
That was a journey for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So obviously, we start with them. There were reports on what day is it? It's Friday today. So Wednesday, I think somebody ended up getting an Apple TV early, which is like unheard of, right? I mean, we've seen devices come early before, but like a couple of days like that's pretty intense. And I woke up on Thursday morning and I had these tweets where it was like this UK retailer. It's called Argos. I don't know if you've heard of it. If you're not British, Argos is this store where you can buy everything, but you can't see any of it. So you go in and there's just it's like the laminated book of dreams. It's like a catalog of just literally anything you can think of. And so I woke up to tweets from one iMore reader who said, hey, I've got an Apple TV reserved with Argos and they've said I can come and get it. And I was like, okay, keep me posted. And sure enough, like an hour later, he's like, yeah, they just let me walk into the store and collect it. And this was Thursday, official release date today, of course. And sure enough, I saw another tweet and I did a bit of digging on their website, and they like their Apple TV like had just gone live. So they were offering like immediate collection. So a few folk from the UK seem to have got hold of an Apple TV very early through Argos, even before the articles for like the press contacts went out, which is wild. And then I was doing a bit of digging myself, and another retailer in the UK here, John Lewis, they were showing that they had the TV like in stock, and I was like, well, that can't be right. And the reason I was looking, I had one ordered with Apple, and their delivery time was May the 27th, even though it came out today, which was pretty rubbish. And I'm going to be doing the review for iMore, which is pretty exciting, and we want to get our hands on it as early as possible. So I looked at John Lewis, and they were like, yeah, it's in stock. And I called my local store, and the lady I spoke to was like, yeah, it's here. I can reserve you one. And I was like, okay, are you sure? I was like, is the box white? Because the old one's black and the new one's white, and it's definitely the Apple. She's like, yeah, it's the white box, Apple TV 4K 2021. And I was like, and I can come and get this today. And she was like, yeah, no problem, of course. And so I barreled into town, and I got to the store. I went upstairs to the 5th floor where they keep the electronics. And the lady was like, oh, yeah, I've just put your TV through the back. And she brought it out and she handed it to me. So on Thursday afternoon, probably 11 o'clock Eastern time, I had the Apple TV in my hands a day before release. It still had like I put a photo on Twitter, it still had like the security tag on it to stop the alarm going off, when you leave the store. And she was like, just wait here. Somebody will be with you in a second. And I went up to the counter and the chap took it off me and he scanned it. And sure enough, he gave me like this look. And I was like, oh, I was like, it won't scan, will it? And he was like,
close.
Yeah, it's got a withheld notice on here. And I was like, yeah, don't worry. The official release date is until tomorrow. And he was like, oh, just go check. And John Lewis are an official premium Apple reseller. So they went to like their own kind of John Lewis geniuses. And sure enough, they would have told him that the release date was in fact today and that they should just tell me to do one. And so I was sent packing, no Apple TV in hand. But then I woke up this morning and Apple decided to just deliver my TV today. And they said it was coming about lunchtime, and then they brought it kind of mid-morning. So after all that, I got my TV from where I originally bought it from, and no one was really any the wiser. But
what a saga!
It was honestly, because it would have been such a it would have been really cool but also like we could have done, you know, like a little hands-on or like a little unboxing or stuff if I'd got hold of it early. But yeah, it is what it is. So there is a TV. I don't know if anyone from John Lewis Edinburgh listens to this podcast, but if you do, there's a TV in your tech section with my name on it. Just give it away, because I am not coming to get that, I promise you, because mine is already here. So
yeah, that's I don't know if anyone else in history has gone through that much trouble to get their hands on an Apple TV.
And it's not
products.
An iPhone,
sure.
maybe, but
grab
an Apple TV.
Grab your tent, park it in the street, stay overnight. Apple, yeah.
For the Apple TV, yes, 4K, definitely.
Yeah, and we have the current, now previous gen 4K TV as well, so it's not even like
it's not a huge upgrade. It's got but one of the things we learned about the Apple TV, I think this morning, is it has a new capability that is, I think, exclusive to this hardware, and that is ARC support, or eARC support to be more precise.
It is ARC. You do say it's not you do say the acronym. It's not ARC. Is that?
Well, I say ARC.
Oh, it sounds so much cooler.
So the ARC is something that I have a little trouble explaining, because it's been a while since I actually knew what it did, except I think that it allows devices connected through the ARC port. ARC is, by the way, a type of HDMI port. It's a particular kind of HDMI port. Most TVs manufactured in the last few years have one. But it lets certain devices, I think, control those, or serve as the output serve as like the sound output generally for the rest of the television. So like I have a Sonos Beam sound bar in front of my TV over here. It connects through the ARC port, and it can serve as the sound output for every other input on the TV. The new Apple TV now has what's called eARC, which is an offshoot that lets it work wirelessly, I believe, because you can now set if you have an original HomePod or a stereo pair of original HomePods, which you probably don't, but if you have those connected to your Apple TV, you can now set those up as the sound output for the rest of your TV. If you connect your new Apple TV to your TV set through the ARC port, it's a little bit convoluted. Mm-hmm. It sounds more convoluted than it actually is.
And again, to be clear, when we say the ARC port, there is just one HDMI port on the back of it's hard to get wrong, but it's quite an exciting development.
But this only works with the original HomePod. It does not work with the HomePod Mini.
Correct.
So that's super frustrating.
So if you want a HomePod, just go down to your local Apple. No, hang on.
No, that's
oh no!
Right.
Head down to your local www.apple.com.
Your local thrift shop and
/HomePod.
Oh man!
Hope you want a HomePod in white.
That is one of the interesting things. Mark Gurman tweeted before the release, so before we kind of knew what the packaging looked like or anything. He was like, it's kind of cryptic, but he was like, the HomePod is advertised in a strange way on the Apple TV box. And sure enough, when one of our readers got hold of one on Thursday, they sent us some photos, and there's just a big. It's like on the back, there's like an iPad bit, I think, and there's another bit, and then it's connect this to your HomePod like wirelessly, and it's the big HomePod, and there's no there's no HomePod Mini, and it's like, I wonder if this packaging was made or planned or designed at like a time when HomePod was more relevant, or at least not cancelled.
But even if it was, why would Apple not change it when they eliminated the HomePod?
Doesn't seem like it's a strange one.
It seems possible to me that Apple TVs have been sitting somewhere for a little while.
Right. But Apple knows now that they have canceled their own HomePod, so why would they still ship it out with that packaging?
Because the packaging is printed. They have the packaging.
So what Apple can't afford to print more.
It's always a question of scale.
Unwrap. It would be interesting. It's a very good point. It'd be interesting. I wonder if TVs that are being made now, so now that the initial stockpile, I guess, has been moved, whether down the line the packaging changes. But again, it wouldn't have the HomePod Mini on it because, Karen, like you said, the ARC feature doesn't work with the HomePod Mini. There's not really any compatibility there. So
I don't know what sense you two have of this, but I get the feeling that there have been a few, not a lot, but a few decisions lately, like, say, canceling the original HomePod, that, and another thing we're going to talk about a little later, that have been made kind of by the seat of Apple's pants. You know, there's been kind of snap decisions.
do you think it's the lawsuit? Do you think everybody's just,
I really couldn't tell you. I don't know. It's just, it feels, they put out a new prominent feature in their latest Apple TV. They put a new prominent feature in the latest Apple TV for only the original HomePod. I feel like maybe you don't do something like that to a canceled product,
unless
generally.
the only thing they were thinking is like, we would like to advertise the new Apple TV to people who already have a HomePod or a stereo HomePod.
There is an argument to be made, I think, that the Apple TV, kind of like the HomePod, the original HomePod, the Apple TV is a device for Apple fans, like for people who are already invested in the Apple ecosystem.
Absolutely.
You're not trying to get
it's not the
converts
only
for the
Apple device
TV.
you would own, is it?
No.
Maybe it is.
So you think they're tossing owners of the original HomePod a bone, kind of?
Yeah. I mean, I've got 2 HomePods sitting here as well.
You must be.
That
Are you
uses
getting
a stereo
are you
pair
getting the
for my
TV?
Apple TV.
Yeah. Do you have one on order?
No, I don't have a TV on order. I'm expecting my new Siri remote to arrive today.
The remote is nice. We've literally just before we came live, we plugged in our TV, got it set up. My wife is kind of getting to grips with it just now, but the remote, like just in hand, is absolutely fantastic. You can tell like that is probably the biggest upgrade, and I think certainly the separate, Joe, like you said, the separate remote will prove very popular for people who already have a TV.
It's one of those rare situations where Apple did exactly what people wanted Apple to do.
Exactly what they wanted.
Kind of admitting it was wrong in the process as well. It's a bit like the butterfly keyboard incident, wasn't it?
Right. The usual Apple attitude would be, well, this is how we're doing things now, and y'all will get used to it.
And then we didn't. This is one of those times when Apple has just said, okay, fine. And it has turned out really, really well.
Have your dang remote.
Yeah.
But it's incredible. It really, really is. It's also bigger, so it's harder to lose, that's like
part of it, though. That's
Apple
part of it
TV
being
remote.
Incredible.
Are you going to stick an AirTag on the back of it just to make sure?
I actually haven't got any AirTags, but it is something I've considered. You know what? Maybe it's when like, you know how like some people say like Apple like creates a need in your life that you didn't know you had. Mm-hmm. Apple released AirTags now. I was like, I don't need it, and I've literally lost my keys like every day consecutively since AirTags were released.
Just buy the AirTags.
I don't know how they do it. It's
buy the AirTags.
I think after the podcast, check your closets for a secret Apple employee who's just there stealing your keys.
Right. I used my AirTags when we went to Florida last week. That's why I wasn't on the show last week. I was picking up my youngest kid from college, and I stuck an AirTag in my suitcase. And so when I was sitting by the conveyor belt waiting for the suitcases to come out, I like looked up where my suitcase was so I could see if it was about to come out or if it was still like on the plane or whatever. So or if it or if it was still like at home. So yeah, I could see that it was like right near where I was. I'm like, okay, they're about to come out. And sure enough, like a minute later, the suitcases came out. So it works.
There are a couple of other Apple devices, of course, starting to land. We should stress starting to land on doorsteps this week because they are severely delayed. One, I would guess a little more so than the other. Obviously, both the iMac and the iPad Pro are in short supply right now, and delivery times slipped pretty quickly. I think the 12.9-inch iPad Pro is probably providing Apple with the largest number of headaches, just because of that display.
Yeah, there's been a couple of different reports to say we're struggling to make the mini. It's obviously a more complex technological feat, and
Yeah.
so it has been, I think, troublesome.
That being said, the display, we have a review up on our site of the iPad Pro from earlier this week, from Daniel Bader, from
Thank you,
our
Daniel.
friend over at Android Central, the editor-in-chief over at Android Central.
And they're all haters, so you know that it's going to be an objective review.
And he really seemed to love this thing, especially the display and darker blacks. Like, you don't really, a lot of people will say, oh, this display is really for creating rich, colorful content and video editors and photographers and artists, those are the kinds of people that are going to get a lot out of this. And that's true. But if you also use your iPad to watch, say, movies that happen to be in HDR or Dolby Vision, you're really going to get something out of this display from the sounds of it.
Yeah, he gave it the best award. Not only the iMore recommended award, but the iMore best award. So, I mean, he was really impressed by it.
Is he even allowed to give that out if he doesn't actually work for iMore?
He has my complete and total authorization for that. He gave it the best award. This wasn't even me reviewing this, which, everyone knows I'm an iPad fan.
Yeah, you were going to give it that award even before you got it, I'm sure.
This sucks. Give it the best award. That's
for
no other reason than it's a new iPad Pro. But I'm now even more eagerly anticipating mine when it eventually arrives sometime between June 2nd and 9th.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out Daniel's review, definitely do, because like Joe said, it has comparison shots. So it has the 28. He has the previous gen iPad, and then he does side by side.
Two generations ago, he has the 2018.
Yeah, so you can see like just and it would be the same upgrade. Like the contrast is incredible. Like this is like, I think by far and away one of the biggest jumps Apple has ever made
in terms of display technology.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's comparable, probably most comparable anyway to OLED on the iPhones.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am excited. The performance sounds amazing.
Yep, M1 chip.
But one of the themes across several reviews this week about that was hardware's great. Lots of stuff stays in memory now and just snaps back once you switch back to it. But, and this has been sort of the recurring theme of especially the iPad Pro. Like, this is plenty of power. Last year was plenty of power, and now this year especially, it is the degree of overkill that people are seeing on this machine. Everyone is now anticipating. What are we now? All right, 2 weeks from this coming Monday is WWDC, the start of WWDC. And so 2 weeks from now, people are really anticipating, I think, big things for iPad OS 15.
Hopefully, yeah. Multiple user accounts, maybe. I've seen that a lot.
That has been a complaint, especially of the iPad Pro since it launched. And I have to say I'm with that. I understand, especially now that we're getting the levels of... I've always had just a personal thought on this was around storage. Like if you have, back when iPads were just at 64 gigabytes, and I mean, a lot of them still are, but like the iPad Pro started and it had a 64 gigabyte tier. It seemed weird that you would split that between multiple people
or three. Yeah.
But now we've got iPads going up to 2 terabytes and okay, now's the time, folks. Let's get user accounts on there. What can we do with can you imagine automatically switching users based on Face ID? You just hit a button that says switch user. It would scan the face of whoever's in front and then switch to that person's account.
That's cool. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I feel like that would be the Apple-like solution.
Yeah. Like but you're definitely right to a sense that we're at this kind of point now where the iPad hardware seems to have just vastly outgrown iPad software.
And there are certain things we have heard about iPad OS, like widgets all over the home screen, just like on the iPhone from last year, but only, you can make an actual dashboard, like a widget dashboard, which is, me, that's what I want. That's what I crave on the iPad. But
I want my widgets to have widgets.
I want widgets on my widgets. I want widgets for my widgets. And also more widgets in Control Center. Why is Control Center just a column, but it like blanks out the entire screen when you activate it? I think there's a lot of potential there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah,
there's a lot of, I guess it's hard because with the iPad OS serves all of the iPad models. So whilst we're saying, yeah, the iPad Pro could handle this, and this, iPad OS 15 also has to work for the iPad Mini and the iPad Air. So what if they had like a Pro operating system?
Oh my gosh.
What if there was like what if there was like the Pro iPads that can obviously do more?
So a Pro focused fork of iPad OS.
Yeah.
No, here's the solution that I favor, because I've been thinking about this a lot. One of the things about last year, I remember thinking this a lot because my sister had a phone that she had to update by mandate of her company. Like they always kept up with the software updates for iOS. And what she was worried about is that her iPhone was going to just change overnight in terms of what was on the home screen and things like that. But the great thing about how Apple handled things like widgets is they didn't force widgets on your home screen. They let you put them there. They let you choose complexity if you wanted it. And that's what I would hope from iPad OS, because the people who are buying, say, the entry-level iPad or the iPad Mini, they might not want, power user features or care about power user features. Yeah. But there are people that, use an iPad Pro for a lot of their work that would care about things like that. And so they could choose to add things like that. You don't have to use the multitasking on the iPad.
Yeah.
You don't even have to have the widget column on the home screen if you don't want it. But you can. And it goes back to, the iPad is sort of it's now Apple's most versatile computer, where it's a tablet and then you can put it on the Magic Keyboard and it is a laptop. It truly is. It's not like Mac OS, but it is a laptop with full cursor support.
Yeah.
You can use it as a drawing tablet. And now I think is the time to let you, reflect that modularity more in software, to a greater degree, like full width external monitor support.
Yeah.
The MacBook Air's got it. And this is, in essence, a MacBook Air in a tablet form. Let's get that going. And you have it halfway there with certain video apps. They can now take advantage of the full 6K resolution of the, Pro Display is it Pro Display XDR? Is that the full name of that?
Is it not Liquid Red?
No. The Pro Display, the external display for the Mac Pro. You can buy one of those if you need a secondary display for your iPad Pro video apps.
Yeah. What a flex that is.
I mean, just spend $2,000 on the iPad Pro and an additional $6,000 on the Pro Display XDR. Yeah. But just full display to support. I don't know if you need to have like a windowing system like Mac OS does, but certainly the power is there and the potential is there to handle it.
Yeah.
There's a lot they could do.
And
then of course,
happy iPad day. It's
happy iPad day for all of those getting the new iPad. Even if you're not getting the 12.9 inch version and you're just getting the 11-inch version with its regular old LCD, you're still getting an M1 and a very powerful machine in an even more compact package. So that's new devices this week. Of course, there's also the iMac, but I don't think any of us have even seen one in person, have we?
I have not. My local store has them, but I've not been yet to see them. I should do that.
No, I haven't seen one, but I did a poll on iMore's Twitter, and in case, are you guys interested on what are the most popular colors? So in third place was purple, second place is silver. Any guesses on first place?
Is it blue?
Blue with 47%.
Yeah, that doesn't shock me at all. It's a good blue.
Yeah, it's nice because blue is kind of in between a color and a neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
It's on its way to like the pro iPhone colors, isn't it? The darker, more
right.
reserved
Yeah,
Pacific
it's a
blue
little
more.
bit, just a little bit more professional looking than like say bright orange
Bright orange,
or
yeah.
bright
Pretty
yellow.
yellow.
I mean, those are more creative colors.
Yeah.
Like you could see like in an art studio or something having like the
Mhm.
full rainbow, but blue, like you could maybe get away with at like a law office or, you know,
Yeah.
something.
Or an architecture firm.
Right. Something just a bit more serious.
Yeah. But still with a splash of fun.
Yes. Just a little more fun.
Moving on a bit to the news of the week. I guess the big news, it dropped Monday. And this is what I was talking about, sort of seat of the pants stuff, not the actual features itself, but the way they've been announced. So on Monday, Apple announced it is happening. Lossless audio and Dolby Atmos and spatial audio are coming to Apple Music next month, sometime next month, for no extra charge.
Yeah.
This was a weird one.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've all expected lossless audio on Apple Music for a while because everyone else has it. And I honestly, part of me thinks that Apple just added it so people would stop talking about it. But also, you know, they developed a logo for it and everything. They have procedures around how to use it. One of those procedures is don't use AirPods, at least currently.
Yeah, and not even the AirPods Max. So it's a weird thing to make a big thing about when you can't even use it on your most expensive headphones.
So I've been thinking of this. Thought has been buzzing around my head since Monday. You know, they put the newsroom post up on apple.com and they showed an album that at this point, an album that theoretically takes advantage of these features because obviously it hasn't rolled out yet, but it has a little mark for Apple lossless, for Dolby Atmos, and for Apple Digital Masters, which are showing up in the latest release candidate for iOS 14.6 and the first beta for iOS 14.7 because both of those exist at the same time.
And we're up to iOS 14.7 for some reason. Why not?
Yeah, let it ride. But it has all of those little watermarks in it. The thing that's been occurring to me all week is that you cannot use the Dolby Atmos, like on an iPhone, you cannot use the Dolby Atmos feature and the lossless feature at the same time. You cannot currently listen to, like, if you have AirPods Max, you can't listen to lossless music. You can only hear the Atmos stuff, which will probably be great, you know.
Yeah, and it will be almost lossless. So this is I think the thing that kind of confused everyone is what you said. Like, one, Apple really emphasized the spatial and the Dolby Atmos side of this, which is coming to all of the Apple and Beats headphones that use the H1 or the W1 chip. So that's all your AirPods, all your Beats and stuff. And I think I think it was Renee described this as like the spatial audio, the Dolby Atmos are like 4K HDR TV, and lossless audio is like 3D TV, which is just like kind of more of a gimmick. But I can understand because this lossless is coming to, I think, 20 million songs initially and all 75 million by the end of the year, whereas Dolby Atmos spatial audio is only coming to a few thousand tracks to begin with, and Apple will keep adding to that catalog. And yeah, you could see how people were sort of understandably vexed when they were like, okay, well, lossless audio is coming to every single track on Apple Music, and I've just bought 550 quid, $550 AirPods Max, and it won't work. You can still you could use it over with a cable, the AirPods Max, but because when it goes through the Lightning connector, it goes from kind of digital to analog and then back to digital. It's not technically lossless, so it would be like,
it's a lot better, right?
It will be. It still be even if nothing. The rumors that we've heard since come to pass is it still a huge music quality upgrade for everybody, but yeah, it's not quite, I think, what everybody was hoping for. But it's not a surprise because the limitation of the lossless audio is Bluetooth. So you've ruled out every pair of Bluetooth, and that's the same for Spotify, Tidal, that sort of thing. It's about the headphones and it's about the codec limitations. This isn't, Apple or Spotify or whoever it was. So
is Apple going to release a wired high-end headphone that will take advantage of lossless audio then?
Better than that, John
yeah.
Prosser.
Yeah. Talk about it, Stephen.
Apparently reckons. So according to John, Apple has in the works an update for AirPods that will let them work over AirPlay instead of Bluetooth. So if you had AirPlay, which uses Wi-Fi, and according to him, it would use a personal Wi-Fi connection between like your AirPods and your phone or your Mac or whatever, then that would support lossless audio because the Wi-Fi has the bandwidth. So the way John positioned it was, Apple's going to flick a switch, AirPods go from, it would still use Bluetooth to discover your AirPods, then form the Wi-Fi connection with AirPlay, and just like that, AirPods are the first headphones that can support wireless lossless audio.
Yeah. I have thoughts on this. So I kind of believe this is true. Like, it seems weird, but it would be. I don't think Apple's pulled. If it's completely true that it will just be a firmware update that activates this ability in. I have to imagine at least the AirPods Max, but maybe all AirPods.
Like the Pro, the Max, and like the 3rd gen or something. Maybe not the first.
Yeah, the upcoming as yet unannounced 3rd gen.
Yeah.
Especially because I would have battery concern. I would actually have battery concerns on the smaller AirPods, if I'm being honest. If this is true, that means that there's been Wi-Fi in the W1 and H1 chips this entire time, and it just has not been on. It's what? But this would be probably the slickest secret that Apple's kept since the Intel transition 15 years ago. So for those that don't know the story about how that was unveiled, so Apple previously, they've had multiple computer architectures in the past, and the one previous to Intel was PowerPC. And when they announced the Intel switch, Steve Jobs came out on stage. I want to say it was WWDC 2005. And he said, he talked about this switch, about how they couldn't get where they wanted to go with the PowerPC roadmap. And then he talked about how this switch was going to happen and how OS 10 was going to be reworked to take advantage of it. And how he said, well, it turns out OS 10 has been living a double life for the past 4 years, because for the past 4 years, that had been the amount of time OS 10 had been around, because Intel support went back to the first version of OS 10 that was available for consumers. They had been building with Intel support in mind from the beginning. And
so there is precedent for this kind of thing.
There is some weird software related precedent, and it just, I don't think we've seen another move like that from Apple since. It would be neat. I would love that.
Certainly not a move from Apple that somebody hasn't discovered beforehand. Like, right. the Apple Silicon transition. Like we've heard about for years that Apple was planning that or something. So yeah, you're right. It's the fact that if this is a thing that it's got under the radar is.
Yeah, because leave aside for a second that Bluetooth isn't capable of delivering lossless, and don't come at me with LDAC. It's not capable of Bluetooth is not capable of delivering true lossless audio. Maybe even CD quality, which, by the way, if this is true, I would expect that this only works on the CD quality lossless, not the high res lossless. I think that would still require a hardware DAC.
Yeah.
Not that you need anything more than the CD quality lossless. Let's be honest. Flame me in the comments.
Get him.
But like if like, because it, despite Bluetooth's inability to transmit losslessly, it is terrible optics for your 5-month-old, 550, let's be real, $600 over-ear headphones, super expensive headphones, to not work with your latest one of your latest high-end music features.
Yeah. No.
That's not that, and like you said, Stephen, like that is on more tracks than many more tracks than Dolby Atmos is going to be, especially at launch.
You can totally, if you juxtapose lossless and spatial versus and Dolby Atmos, the spatial audio, the Dolby Atmos stuff is clearly and I think it will be a much more innovative audio experience. That's why Apple is the lossless, because it's less of it's still an upgrade, but it's less of an upgrade. That's why Apple can just flick a switch and 75 million songs, here you go. Whereas the spatial, the Atmos, that requires time and partnerships with artists and engineers and stuff like that. When you compare them side by side, one is very clearly superior, but the fact that it's the all 75 million songs versus just a few thousand, it's like, and that's the thing for me. And John said this in his video when he talked about this rumor. I don't really like the technicalities of it are beyond me. So I've seen people say, oh well, Joe, like you said, well, they've been hiding Wi-Fi in AirPods the whole time. It's like, well, that would have shown up in the FCC regulation testing and stuff that it had Wi-Fi installed or whatever. The technicalities, I think, aside, you're right. It would make no sense that Apple would release this massive audio upgrade to its own music service that wasn't available to the users of its most popular wireless headphones in like the AirPods range and Beats. Like it doesn't make any sense. So there has to be something coming. So whether it's what John is saying about AirPlay, whether it's Karen, like maybe there's a pair of AirPods coming down the line that but even then, that is, Joe, like what you said about the AirPods Max, is people have bought these 6 months ago and all of a sudden they're not the thing anymore. It's a funny one. It's strange, but it's
maybe Apple will do both. They definitely have to do one or the other at least, but they could do both.
This is here's my bet. This time next year, there will be multiple AirPod models that support this, whether it's an update to existing ones or new versions that come out later this year.
We'll be here talking ahead of WWDC 2022, talking about the masterstroke of the lossless audio announcement in May 2021.
Yeah. And the one that really gets me, though, actually the omission that really does kind of bug me on the lossless side is HomePod. Like, oh yeah. So you're gonna do this very specific feature for the Apple TV to bring ARC support to HomePods, to the original HomePods, but you're not gonna bring lossless audio to them. And the reason it really it irritates me on the HomePod is because if there is a type of device that would benefit more from higher resolution audio, it is a speaker.
Yeah. I feel like all of these things are leading up to some big announcement, some big new product that's coming out, audio product.
Maybe the resurgence of the HomePod, or that we talked about it a while ago, the HomePod that is also a sound bar.
Something,
the HomePod doesn't have a battery. Like, that's a big deal when it comes to sending huge chunks of data for. But the thing is if John is onto something, or John's source is onto something with the AirPlay flick of the switch, as it were, that for me immediately brings into play the HomePod and everything else, because you probably open up for all the AirPlay 2 speakers as well. So maybe there's maybe it's AirPlay 3. Maybe that's what's
with full lossless support. I'm thinking about it, and so one of the things that we should talk about a little bit is why doesn't why of lossless audio, and why Apple seems to think that spatial audio is the real news here and not lossless. And it has a lot to do with the fact that there are physical limits to human hearing. And so one of the issues I have with the talk around all of this, though, is yes, there are physical limits to human hearing, but I don't think we've hit them with the AirPods Max right now. Like the 256 kilobit per second AAC codec that Apple uses for Apple Music, it's good. It is actually very good, and it's very good out of the AirPods Max. It should be noted that when it comes to higher quality music, like a higher quality music listening experience, things like your headphones or any DAC that you use matter a lot more than codec. Like if you picked up an external DAC to use with your iPhone for when lossless comes out, like I did, and you have a good set of headphones to use with that DAC, even before lossless comes out, and you're just listening to the 256 kilobit per second AAC files over a wired connection through a DAC, it is going to sound better than, say, standard AirPods. Like that hardware does make a difference. Yeah. And that is, I think, the thing with that. Like you might not notice the full CD quality lossless audio of these new Apple tracks. You will probably notice that they're better. They sound better. They sound more detailed, more full, more present. Because that's because I do listen to some lossless music, and I can also listen to it on Apple Music, and that is the difference I notice. I don't notice that I'm hearing, one extra violin or something like that, but I do notice that it is better, and that the music feels more present.
Yeah.
Wow. Full, because there's not a lot of data being stripped out.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the. It'll be good. Like whatever it is, like it's gonna be good.
I'm looking forward to both of these new features. Karen, are you an Apple Music subscriber?
No.
You're not. Do you subscribe subscribe to any Apple services?
Just iCloud storage.
Yeah. So you don't really have a stake in this particular game.
No.
No. It's I'm looking forward to this. It is interesting. I think maybe the biggest news that people immediately seem to forget about is that this is free. This is a free upgrade.
Yeah, that's the thing. That was my biggest surprise. There was a lot of chat before that Apple was going to introduce, this new hi-fi like service, but it was going to be a more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were speculating about the price on a previous
or that it was
show.
going to be that was going to become the the $10 a month Apple Music, and that they were going to bring down the price of the current peasant Apple Music with regular people.
256 audio.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's totally that's for all the people who are frustrated or a bit confused and stuff. It is free. That's the
yeah. There's a subreddit called Choosing Beggars, which is sort of this kind of thing. Like, when you're getting something for free and you can't take advantage of it,
if
how much are you going to complain?
If Apple was charging more for lossless and it didn't support AirPods,
that would be a crime.
That is
right.
Talk about terrible optics.
Yeah.
Right. If they charge more and you couldn't opt out.
Yeah. Yeah. But I am excited to see whether or not there has been Wi-Fi in my AirPods this entire time. I kind of hope there has, but I'd also be a little mad. Like I could have had AirPlay this whole time.
There'll be a great WandaVision meme there, where it's like it was AirPlay all along.
Always
WWDC Monday. Yeah.
But again, you were perfectly happy with it before you knew that it had it. So how much can you complain, really?
That's true. It's not like, even if this doesn't happen for current AirPods, it's not like your current AirPods suddenly became junk. Like they still work and work great.
They're still everything they were when you bought them.
Exactly. They're just not more than what you bought them.
It's even coming to Android. Like this is
that's another wild thing to me. So basically if you're a heavy AirPods user and an iPhone user, you're getting and you're not planning on getting wired headphones or anything like that. You're getting the Atmos, but not the lossless. And if you're an Android user, you're getting the lossless, but not the Atmos.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I think it'll be really good. Like, big music fan. So
yeah, it
excited for
is.
music to get better. Let's do it.
It is pretty exciting. So we've got some rumors to get through this week. Let's start with Apple Watch because that's pretty cool.
God, I forgot about this. This week has been so long. I keep seeing these stories of like, here's what we're going to talk about, and I was like, did that happen this week? I thought that was 6 months ago.
Yeah, no, it was this week.
It's been a big week. So yeah, let's talk about the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch Series 7, it would be, is rumored to be getting a redesign.
Yeah, it's been a while since what, the 4 was the last redesign, and that was really just making it thinner.
And
kind of
bigger.
Kind of like flattening it almost. They like took the original design and then just like pressed down a bit and deleted some bezel.
Well, they're making it. They're copying the design language of the iPhones.
Yeah.
And the iPads.
And this one, it is in that vein. It is squaring things off a bit, although a little more, let's say, a little more subtly than the iPhone does. The iPhone has pretty sharp edges.
I mean, I don't think it looks bad, but it does not look overly appealing to me.
Is this the new design?
Yeah,
the new Apple Watch 7 design. It's not something I would rush out and buy.
It is gross. Sorry, I don't like it at all.
You think it's gross?
Yeah, I was
going to say it's too masculine for my style, but I didn't know if that was just.
I mean, it could be one of a number that Apple is working on, or like a concept or something. I've just seen the rumor this is based on. It comes from John's video, and in the thumbnail of John's video is like a huge Apple Watch next to John. And on the screen of the Apple Watch is like a text from Phil Schiller that says, "What is wrong with you?" But yeah, this is the first thing we've heard previously. Ming-Chi Kuo saying that there's going to be like a substantial redesign to Apple Watch. And Mark Gurman previously, I think, has said as well that Apple is maybe working on like almost like an adventure watch that, like a more sturdy kind of outdoor kind of number.
It's a watch preloaded for D&D.
Pretty much.
Well, what are those lines on the side supposed to be?
I think they're the speakers. So like on a current Apple Watch, I'm going to show my Apple Watch to the camera. You see those lines here on my Apple Watch? I think they're just a reorientation of that. These are the speakers. And
okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. I never, I've been wearing an Apple Watch for 5 years, and I never noticed those. Okay.
Yeah. I gotta say, I look at this design. I actually kind of like it. I'm the odd man out, but Karen, I definitely saying it's too masculine. I definitely see that crystallized that thought. I know exactly what you meant. I just happen not to mind it so much.
It doesn't bother me on the iPhone at all, but for some reason on the watch, I guess because it's jewelry.
Well, yeah,
and
but
my jewelry, it tends to be feminine looking.
Here's what I wonder about this design. This design almost looks like it would work like the best on the larger watch. Like it's harder to imagine this on the smaller 40 millimeter watch almost.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's strange that way. It seems like it's to that masculine point. If you think of the larger watches as more masculine and the smaller watch is more feminine, if that's how you frame that.
Yeah, then, and I don't want to be binary about gender, right. But certainly anybody can wear anything they want. But it's just my personal taste tends to be more flowing and curvy rather than straight edged and straight angled.
This is basically what John has presented with here is we are going from the iPhone 11 to the iPhone 12. So if you like the design language of the iPhone 12, you like the square.
But I do like the squared off edges on the phone. I don't ask me to explain why, but I like the way it looks on a phone.
I too am with you, but it's not a design that I would want to wear on my wrist.
I don't want it on my wrist.
So here's the question, and here's my question about this: does this mean that in order to get a circular Apple Watch, we must first get circular iPhones?
Oh, come on.
There's your folding iPhone. It's
that
a
was the iMore
show. No, I cannot see a circular iPhone.
No, that would be ridiculous, of course.
But I wouldn't mind a circular Apple Watch.
But yeah,
That
a
might be
circular
fun.
Apple Watch, like those renders John Prosser had a few weeks ago of the supposed Google Wear OS watch, the Pixel Watch or whatever, where it's completely circular and it's edge to edge. Those look great, Apple.
Because that's a
Maybe
very conventional watch design, isn't it?
But
Like
the circular Apple Watch rumor has been around since the beginning of the
since
Apple Watch.
before there was an Apple Watch.
Yeah, I used to write for an exclusive Apple Watch website, and there were a lot of circular predictions from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. I think circular displays are hard, and it's also if you're just looking at the Apple Watch as a wristbound computer, in terms of information display, a squared off design is always going to give you more information than a circle design. You
more
like
space
a circle,
the edges and stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What about an oval? Like more of an oval design?
Oval.
Like it's currently a squoval, but what if we went to like
a squoval? If we went to a zigzag? An oval design like my mom's watch is an oval design. That could be interesting. What if Apple just went out and experimented with different shapes and released like a few of them? More options from Apple on Apple Watches.
What if Apple, you know how like automakers, like Mercedes, they build cars that they'll never ever manufacture. They literally make concept cars. It's like, look what we could do. We're never gonna. What if Apple just like started?
I mean, clothing designers do that too.
Yeah, concept products. That's like
concept watches.
Here's what we could do. It's like if we used 100% of the brain, we tried really hard. Yeah. Here's what we could do. But
a completely invisible iPhone that still worked as well as the current iPhone. Only Tim Cook can use it.
Yeah. Apple, if you're listening, there's still time with the Apple Watch. You can change that design.
You can still use. You can wait one more year.
It's not too late And
then Apple. Someone at Apple listening to this. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure whatever it is.
Guys,
whatever it is, it's definitely already done.
They're getting ready to manufacture these things.
Or they've already started.
Yeah.
No, it's I'm disappointed. Sorry, I am
disappointed in the potential.
Yeah, I think it's going the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. We've got some other rumors, Mac related rumors though this time.
Yeah. Ken, if you're still in the chat, I think we're about to answer your question. So stick around.
So yeah, we've got and it's a wide variety of Macs here that are being rumored about. We've got a potential rumor for new Mac Pro, Mac Mini, and MacBook Air, with alongside a new Apple Silicon chip, let's say M2, M1X, whatever. Stephen, do you want to take us through these new computers that Bloomberg is talking about?
Yeah, so basically we've had the first 3 Apple Silicon Macs, and we are expecting new ones soonish. And these are the MacBook Pro models with the mini LED display from the iPad Pro and possibly a new generation of Apple Silicon. And then we just got this big dump from Bloomberg that says, by the way, Apple is also working on a revamped MacBook Air, a new low-end MacBook Pro, a new Mac Mini Now, I don't know if that would be to replace the one that was released last year or if it would be to replace the higher-end Mac Mini. Or have I got my Macs mixed up?
No,
There's still an Intel Mac Mini.
Yeah, there's still an Intel Mac Mini in space gray.
A new Mac Mini, but I think it would be to replace that, not to replace the most recent Apple Silicon Mac Mini. And a new Mac Pro. The Mac Pro is a really interesting one. Basically, the rumor is that it's going to be like roughly a similar design to the current one, but about half the size, which is pretty wild when you think about it. And Bloomberg, alongside this, also says that Apple's working on like a set of new Apple Silicon processors as well. So to give you an idea, Mark Gurman says that the MacBook Pro will get and the Mac Mini, the new one, would get, it's a 10-core Apple Silicon chip, and it would be capable. It would support up to 64 gig of RAM, and then there would be like either a 16 or a 32 graphics core option, which would be a big jump on what we currently have. There's also reportedly that the Mac Pro would have either 20 or 40 cores with either 16 or 32 high performance cores and 4 or 8 efficiency cores. And then again, that would be either 64 or 128 graphics cores. And yeah, it's just madness, really, when you think about it. Where
128
graphics cores. Yep, absolutely. There's also rumors of a new MacBook Pro that would feature like a slightly faster M1.
Up. We lost your video, Stephen.
I'm sorry, I'm coming back. Let me see.
We can still hear you at least.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So keep talking.
Brilliant. Yeah. So yeah, the Mac Pro, it
sounds like they're just going to go absolutely beastly with this Mac Pro chip. I wonder. That almost sounds to me like they are making a custom chip for the Mac Pro that won't be in other Macs. And obviously, they'll probably take their learning down the line over time. But yeah, 64 or 128 graphics cores. That is very many graphics cores. It's a lot of work.
So everyone's going to go recycle their cheese grater Macs into actual cheese graters now.
Macs.
But they're going to use the old ones as actual cheese graters now.
Well, we'll see. That's what's interesting, Karen, is, as Stephen said, it's thought to be, half the size of the current Mac Pro.
Literally,
so it's actually closer to the size of an actual cheese grater.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah. You sell the old one to pay for the new one, and then when the new one comes out, the secondary new one,
right?
You use the next new one as an actual cheese grater because it's more of the size. Yeah. I would actually like to see Apple continually shrink the Mac Pro down until you can actually use it as a cheese grater safely.
It really just depends how much cheese you want to grate.
A lot. I have a lot of Parmesan to grate.
Parmesan is undefeated. Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's also apparently maybe getting a 10-core Intel i9 Mac Pro before the Apple Silicon one, which seems redundant to me. But
here we go.
But it would be that is i9 instead of Xeon. So
an i9.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess.
So Ken in the chat, to answer your question, we had Ken asked us he was looking to drop $3,000 to $3,500 on an Apple video editing machine. And he could wait till the end of the year. Absolutely wait till the end of the year. There's a lot in the pipeline, apparently. And certainly you'll be able to get a lot more for your money with a big Apple Silicon upgrade to one of these Macs than you would currently.
Maybe the updated Mac Mini. Higher end Mac Mini.
The high-end Mac Mini, yeah. Or if you want something portable like maybe the 16-inch MacBook Pro, if that comes and that has Apple Silicon and this 10-core chip, 64 gig of RAM.
I've actually been thinking about this a little bit since actually the announcement of the iMac. It occurs to me when Apple, its first M1 designs, Apple reused existing chassis like the Mac Mini and the MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air. The next round of lower end consumer grade Mac Mini, they could make it as thin as an iPad if they wanted to.
Yeah, pretty much.
They could do that. They have the power.
Yeah. You brought up iMac, and I totally forgot that another one of these rumored devices is a larger iMac. So again, with more Apple Silicon. So if you look at the current iMac, and you're like, that's not big enough. There is reportedly a replacement for the bigger one, which will be not only bigger than the 27. Yeah, it will be bigger than the 27-inch iMac. So you upgrade the size, and then this will be an upgrade on the upgrade of the size. So it'll be huge.
Yeah,
32 inches.
Like 30 or 32 inches on that one.
Yeah, because it's kind of the same with like what Apple's done with going from 21 to 24 by slimming down the bezels and stuff. So, and I think I have a suspicion that the bigger iMac will also be more pro It'll be kind of like the iMac
colors, you mean?
Pro. Yeah, colors and performance, I think, because the M1 is Apple's like
Consumer
it's
chip.
not a performance. Yeah, it's a portable notebook chip that the thing is it's so good that they could put it in the iMac and be like, hey, this is a desktop computer now. But yeah, there will be a lot of beef in the new iMac too, which is exciting.
it'll be a monster. Just not as much of a monster as that Mac Pro sounds to be.
128 graphics cores, 40 regular cores, 128 graphics cores.
It's crazy.
So before we leave, I just want to see is everybody okay? So Stephen, you have the Apple TV. Karen, are you expecting anything? Are you awaiting any deliveries yet?
No, not of Apple products.
Treat yourself. Come on.
Treat yourself. Get that.
Treat yourself.
get that. Yeah, treat yourself with a $2,000 iPad Pro.
Yeah, let me get through this wedding first.
Yeah, and then
You deserve it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for. Let's see. I'm waiting for the Siri remote, and oddly enough, my new Magic Keyboard. But not the iPad Pro just yet.
Yeah.
Although it seems that the old Magic Keyboards are going to work just fine with the new iPad Pros. So are you going to keep the new Magic Keyboard?
Still a question. I did get it in white.
So you're going to keep it just for the color
Probably not,
difference?
but we'll see.
Does the white keyboard not get filthy when you use it?
That's what I said.
I can't think of anything worse.
Joe's not worried about that.
I'm not. I'm really. It's not what concerns me.
Oh well.
All right, we have come down to the end of our hour. It's big week for Apple.
Huge.
Big week for all of us, really.
So much new stuff.
So much to talk about. I want
and
to say
WWDC 2 weeks.
God, WWDC is in 2 weeks.
I can't believe it's only 2 weeks away.
Yeah. 2 weeks. Yeah. Just over 2 weeks to WWDC. And if you think about it in podcast terms, it's 3 weeks till our post WWDC show, where we will talk about all of that.
Yeah. And I feel like there haven't been a ton of rumors about WWDC.
Yeah.
We've
basically seen all of iOS 14 before it happened last year.
And now we have we didn't even talk about this. I think we may have seen a bit of iOS 15 a couple of days ago when Apple announced its new accessibility initiatives. It's sign time for the store, and then also what else? They showed off some new accessibility options, but the settings screen was very different.
It was like kind of more rounded and square,
like sort of cell based and without the borders at the top, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, we can eagerly anticipate that in about 2 weeks' time, I think. All right. So yes, we've come down to the end of it. I want to say thanks to Stephen for being on this week.
My pleasure,
as always. Thanks to all of the people that joined us live and in the chat. It's always great to watch you guys ask us questions and talk to each other. Thanks to everyone who's gonna listen later in the podcatcher of their choice. And as always, thank you to the wonderful Jim Metzendorf, who makes us sound so great, so lovely. And until next time, this has been the iMore Show. Bye, everybody.
Bye.